So as a lot of you guys, the viewers, are South African who watch this channel, the question that I get asked very often is Mauritius more expensive than South Africa? So in this week's video, that's exactly what we're going to investigate. That's coming right up. So what I've done is I've gone to my local supermarket and I've chosen a few objects which I think are quite expensive. They're not, your bog standard ingredients. They are things that I would consider to be more luxury goods purely because of the expense. Then I've gone online and I've also asked my dad, thanks a lot Dad, back in South Africa, and he has given me a rundown of similar items. And also online it was fairly easy to gauge what sort of prices things go for. Some of the items are exactly the same, like for example the wine and the biscuits, but a few other items, food products, I couldn't find the exact same brand. So you'll have to bear with me, you'll have to forgive me. I have tried to give you the best possible comparison I could. So the first item I'm going to talk about is one which I have seen increase drastically here over the years, and that's butter. And I actually managed to find the exact same brand here. This is Leheilleix butter, 200 grams. This in Mauritius came to 99.50 rupees. And for the same thing in South Africa, it would cost you 103 rand 99 cents. So shockingly, that is actually an item which is cheaper in Mauritius. The next item on my list for you today is cherry tomatoes. These I specifically chose for you today from a brand called VegMe. They have 0 pesticides, so that's always a good thing. We try and be healthy. So this is 250 grams of cherry tomatoes. In Mauritius, that cost me 138 rupees, which actually for this time of the year is quite cheap. I've seen these prices go all the way up to 200 rupees, and I find tomatoes to be remarkably expensive here. Same thing in South Africa will cost you 29.99 rand. So a lot cheaper in South Africa. Then for those people who like to be healthy and don't like to drink cow's milk, the next one on my list is some almond milk. I've got this Bjorg almond milk. It's quite an expensive brand here, and I couldn't find the same one in South Africa, but this I find to be absolutely virtually unaffordable. Here, this cost 225 rupees for 1 litre, whereas in South Africa the equivalent will cost you 41.99 rand. So a lot cheaper for almond milk in South Africa. Next on our list are strawberries. I absolutely love these. I love them fresh, but unfortunately here in Mauritius, I have yet to come across some nice, juicy, sweet strawberries. So I actually buy them in a kilo pack, frozen. I find they're really good for smoothies. So here, that will cost me 345 rupees for 1 kilo. The equivalent in South Africa is 55.99 rand. So that's considerably cheaper in South Africa for frozen strawberries. Right, and for those of you who love coffee, this is Lavazza imported Italian coffee. This here will cost you 213 rupees, whereas in South Africa the equivalent is 121.99 rand. So actually, interestingly, this brand of coffee is actually cheaper here in Mauritius. And as I'm sitting here doing this edit for you guys, I realize that there's a lot of information going on. There's a lot of different currencies and numbers and things flashing on the screen, but do bear with me because I really hope it's making sense, and I hope that you're gonna get some valuable info at the end. Anyway, back to the video. Now chocolate, I really like to buy Lindt because it just tastes good. I find it's less sweet than a lot of the other alternatives out there. So I've got 2 types for you today. The one is the Lindt with the sea salt, and the other one is a Lindt Creation Creme. And the prices of those for the Lindt with the sea salt, it was 150.65 rupees, whereas in South Africa that would have been 69 rand. So interestingly cheaper here too. But then the other Lindt Creation Creme here is 215.50 rupees, whereas in South Africa that would have come to 89.99 rand. So actually that particular lint is cheaper in South Africa. So yeah, we're pretty even with the chocolate on this island in terms of cost between the two places. Now next on the list is meat. So if I was to buy some minced beef, 500 grams would cost me 210 rupees, whereas for the same thing in South Africa it would be 67.99 rand. If you like something like a filet or a rump steak, that again is going to be much cheaper in South Africa. Here for 1 kilo, it's going to be 890 rupees, whereas in South Africa for the same thing, 1 kilo, as I said, it'll be 184.99 rand. So quite a lot cheaper in South Africa. Now the other thing that does cost a lot more here is alcohol, specifically wine, because of course it is imported. So I'm going to grab a bottle of this. I quite like this one. This is Zonnebloem Shiraz, and this you can find the exact same bottle in South Africa, so we can compare exactly the prices. So that came to 696 rupees here, whereas in South Africa it was 115 rand. So as you can see, much cheaper to buy wine in South Africa. So that might be a bit of a shocker for you if you're here on holiday, or if you're living here, you might have to adjust your wine habits slightly. Then I bought some Parmesan cheese, a 200 gram block, and interestingly that cheese came to 350 rupees, whereas for the same thing in South Africa it would have been 159 rand 99 cents. So actually that cheese is cheaper here than it is in South Africa. Next on the list are these chocolate biscuits. These are Baker's Choc Kits, and these are exactly the same ones that you get in South Africa, so I can give you the exact same price comparison. And actually it looks like my kids have already devoured half of these, but anyway, at least they left me the box. So the cost of these here in Mauritius is 130 rupees for this 200 gram box, whereas in South Africa it will be 38.99 rand. So it's quite a lot cheaper in South Africa, and that's normal because these are actually produced in SA, whereas here they are imported. So that entire shop here in Mauritius, those ingredients I showed you, came to the grand total of 3,662.65 rupees, whereas the goods that I found online, when I added up that entire cost, that in rands was 1,080.89 rands. So that was actually, if you convert it, that comes to 2,504.13 rupees. So then if you work that out, that's actually a 37% difference. So in other words, Mauritius is 37% more expensive for those food items. It does of course get a lot more complex than that. I'm going to do another updated cost of living soon, because of course it's so much deeper than that. You've got to take into account electricity and property and the cost of your kids going to school, cars, all those sorts of things. But just from food, for sure, Mauritius is generally more expensive. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It all helps the algorithm and it all helps this channel to grow. Also, I am partnered with someone who helps people come and live in this country. So if you'd like to relocate here, do pop me an email. Details are down below. And also, I sponsor these videos. I buy all these products. So if you'd like to help out, do buy me a coffee as well. Link is down below. Anyway, I'm wishing you a pleasant evening from a very hot and humid Mauritius. I will check you on the next video. See ya.